Hello everyone, myself Assistant Professor Vatsal Patel from Civil Engineering Department working at Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center Navsari. Today we are going to discuss about engaging deeply. So in previous videos we have seen the first aspect of a contributor's mindset, which is the contributor's willingness and capacity to find solution, and second aspect, which is his or her goal of creating value for self, for family, for the team, for the organization, for customers and for society. Now let's see the third aspect, which is to engage deeply. So the third aspect of a contributor's mindset is the contributor's approach to work. Contributors are instantly distinguished by the way they approach work. They get involved, they are enthusiastic, they go deep into the subject. In short, contributors love what they do. This is in direct contrast to non-contributors who want to do only what they love. An approach that seems reasonable until you realize that life and workplaces have so much variety that you may very often be called upon to do tasks that seems unpleasant or boring until you get involved. So let's understand engaging deeply with some examples. Here, non-contributor type person will think like, it is so easy to memorize or follow the procedure given to me. To think deeply about the subject means struggling a little. It is easier to give up. And contributor type person will think like, the deeper I go into the subject, the clearer I become. I am able to find new answers, discover new ways of doing things, and transform myself in the process. So here we can see that non-contributor type person easily give up. They do not want to engage deeply in their subject. They only want to memorize or follow the procedure given to them. They not want to do anything new. They think like if they go deeper in subject, they may struggle in it little. So they seem like it is easy to give up and not to try engage deeply in that subject. Whereas contributor type person want to engage deeply in their subject. They think like the more they go deeper in their subject, the more clearer vision will be there for it. They think like by trying new things, they can find new answers, also can discover new ways of doing that things, and by this they can transform themselves. So they want to try their level best for that particular subject. So from this we can learn that non-contributors give up easily when they have to go deeper into the subject, and contributors take up an idea and work deeply with that idea to make it a reality in their lives. Now let's understand it with one more example. Here non-contributor type person will think like, let me somehow finish my work and go home. They have chalta hai type attitude. If there are errors or the outputs is poor or is of poor quality, or if it collapses later, or customer is unhappy. So breach of poor quality work is here. And contributor type person will think like, my product shows my own personality. I care about the quality and usefulness of my product. I want to do a great job only then do I respect my own work. So here high quality strong bridge is there. So here we can see that non-contributor type person only want to complete their task even if the quality provided is poor. They only want to finish their work somehow and want to go home. They do not care if there are errors in it, which may provide a poor quality of it and customers are happy or not. Here we can see that the example of civil engineer who only want to complete the construction work of the bridge. He do not care about the quality of that bridge. The bridge may collapse later, but he did not care about it. Whereas contributor type persons want to provide high quality work. They think like their product shows their own personality. So they care about quality and usefulness of that product. They want to provide their 100% in their work. Here we can see the example of civil engineer who want to construct high quality strong bridge. He ensured that the quality of bridge is good and care about their end users. So from this we can learn that non-contributors often focuses on completing the task even if the quality of work is poor. They have a chalta hai type attitude and contributors seeks to create high quality products. They care about what they have produced. Let's see another example for it. Here, non-contributor type person will think like committing to the project means giving up some of my comforts. So why should I give up my pleasures to go deep and show interest in the details of the project? And contributor type person will think like unless I go deep and get into the details, I know the project will not get completed successfully. If I am involved, I must commit myself deeply to the success of the project. So here we can see that non-contributor type person not want to come out of their comfort zone for the success of the project. They think like if they deeply engage with the project, then they have to give up some of their pleasures. So they are not ready to give up some of their comfort. Whereas contributor type person want to go deep down in the project. They think like go deep, then they can find all details required. They think like if they don't work perfectly, then project may not complete successfully. So they are committed towards their project and want to do everything which is required for the project. So from this we can learn that non-contributors do not commit themselves to the success of a project and contributors commit themselves to the success of a project. Let's see one more example for it. Here, non-contributor type person will think like, I hate struggling for a solution. This is so boring. I don't like this work. And contributor type person will think like, I love challenges. As we go deeper, any work becomes interesting. The purpose is more important than my likes and dislikes. So here we can see that if any work is provided, non-contributor type persons are not want to struggle for the solution. If any work is provided, they think like it is so boring and they don't like it, that type of work. So they don't want to engage themselves with any kind of work. Whereas contributor type persons loves challenges. came across the work. They think like if they go deeper in any work, it became interesting. So they want to engage with each and every work provided to them. They think about purpose of that work, not their like and dislikes. So, from this, we can learn that non contributors often respond to work with emotional disengagement, and contributors respond to work with emotional engagement. Now, let's see one case study to understand this in detail. I think many of you know the story of the Manhattan Project. So let's see how it is started and completed. The history of the Manhattan Project shows that sharing a mission and a vision with the group can provide the necessary inspiration to enable wholehearted engagement with the work and stretch the limits of performance. When engineers were first assigned to the Manhattan Project and asked to do a series of tedious calculations, the American Army refused to tell them what they were working on. They carried out their work but slowly and without inspiration. As the project leaders noticed that work was advancing at a slow pace, they decided to inform the scientists of the true nature of their task. By providing meaning, the leader changed the group dynamics and the team's result in a spectacular manner. The same engineers, when told that they were building a weapon that was going to end World War II, suddenly found far better ways of completing their task. Their assignments became a thrilling and meaningful crusade rather than a routine and tedious job. Almost immediately, they started to do the same work 10 times faster. This story shows the power available to leaders in defining a mission, offering a vision of the future, and convincing participants that they are part of something that goes far beyond the drudgery of their daily work. So, any of you not know about this story? Let's break the secret. It is about developing a first atomic bomb. The Manhattan Project was the effort led by the United States with participation from the United Kingdom and Canada, which resulted in the development of the first atomic bomb during World War II. It lasted from August 1942 to December 1946. So here you can see a 1940 meeting at Berkeley with, from if we see from left to right, Ernest O. Lawrence, Arthur H. Compton, Vannevar Bush, James B. Conant, Carl T. Compton, and Alfred L. Loomis. Here you can see the Oak Ridge K25 plant where it is made. Operators at their cultural control panels at Y12, Glades owns the woman seated in the foreground, did not know what she had been involved with until seeing this photo in a public tour of the facility 50 years later. The Manhattan Project created the first nuclear bomb. The Trinity test is shown to the world. You can see its real life image here. So here we can see that first of all, no one knows about the project on which they are working on expect few people. But by seeing the low rate of the productivity, the project leader the project leader just gave their team one ray of hope that they were building a weapon that was going to end World War II. And just by knowing this, they started doing work 10 times faster. So, team begins to engage deeply when they have shared vision. So, from this case study, we can learn that showing the team the larger vision, they were serving motivated the team members to get fully involved in the work and pour their energies into it, increasing productivity by 10 times. So, some people are driven by inner vision, which makes them pour their heart into their work. For example, a mountaineer who keeps climbing newer and higher peaks is driven by some inner vision. Now let's talk about Hamilton Naki, 78 years age, self-taught surgeon, dies. Hamilton Naki, a laborer from South Africa who became a self-taught surgeon of great skills, died on May 29, 2005 at his home in Langa near Cape Town. Mr. Naki, who left school at 14 and had no formal medical training, spent 5 decades working at the University of Cape Town. Originally hired as a gardener, in 1940 he acquired his surgical skills through years of silent observation and secret practice at the university's medical school. In 1954, Robert Goetz of the university's surgical faculty asked Naki to assist him with laboratory animals. Naki's responsibilities progressed from cleaning cages to performing anesthesia. Several years after Goetz left, Naki started working for Christian Bernard in the laboratory as an assistant. Bernard had studied open heart surgery techniques in the United States and was bringing those techniques to South Africa. Naki first performed anesthesia on animals for Bernard, but was then appointed principal surgical assistant of the laboratory because of his remarkable skill and dexterity. Although South Africa's apartheid laws did not allow blacks from performing surgery on whites, Mr. Naki's skills were so esteemed that the university quietly looked the other way. He worked alongside Dr. Bernard for decades as a lab technician, perfecting his craft and assisting in many operations on people. Bernard was quoted as saying, "If Hamilton had the opportunity to study, he would probably have become a brilliant surgeon," and that Naki was one of the great researchers of all time in the field of heart transplant. In 1968, Bernard's cardiac surgical research team moved out of the surgical laboratory and Naki helped develop the heterotropic or piggyback heart transplant technique. In the 1970s, Naki left Bernard's team and returned to the surgical laboratory, this time working on liver transplantation. Mr. Naki also taught surgical techniques to generation of medical students. He retired in 1991. In 2002, Mr. Naki was awarded the Order of Mapungwe, one of the South Africa's highest honors, for outstanding contribution to medical science. In 2003, the university awarded Mr. Naki an honorary Master of Science degree in medicine. So here we can see that South Africa's laws did not allow blacks for performing surgery on white. But seeing his skill, they have to think about it in different way, and because of that one person, whole scenario has been whole scenario has been changed. So from this we can learn that because of Mr. Naki's strong commitment to developing himself as a surgery practitioner, he was willing to hold on to this purpose despite the adverse conditions during apartheid in South Africa. So, his power of deep commitment leads his life of purpose, and he served with his work and overcome hurdles comes on his way. So, willingness to engage deeply leads to commitment to the task at hand. Now, let's understand engaging deeply with the help of one story. A gentleman was once visiting a temple under construction. In the temple premises, he saw a sculptor making an idol of God. Suddenly, he saw just a few meters away that another's identical idol was laying. So he asked with the curiosity that, "Do you need two statues of the same idol?" The sculptor replied, "No, we need only one, but the first one got damaged at the last stage." The gentleman examined the sculpture. No apparent damage was visible, and asked, "Where is the damage?" The sculptor replied, "There is a scratch on the nose of that idol." So he again asked, "Where are you going to keep the idol?" The sculptor replied, "It will be installed on a pillar 20 feet high." The gentleman said, "What? When the idol will be 20 feet away from the eyes of the beholder, who will notice a scratch on the nose?" The sculptor replied, "God knows it and I know it." So the sculptor's assessment of quality and what could be passed as final was his own inner sense of excellence. For example, the urge to do a perfect job. This made his work meaningful to himself. So, from this, we can learn that engaging deeply leads to high quality work. Like, according to the gentleman, the scratch is very small, and looking at the height, it is rarely possible to visible to others. But the sculptor want to provide perfect work, not just work to pass as final. He wants to provide quality work. So he focused on developing an inner sense of quality for himself and for the people he serves. Now let's see Sudha Chandran's story, overcoming setbacks to achieve her dream. Sudha Chandran began dancing at the age of 3. Seeing the dedication of the child, her father took her to a famous dance school in Mumbai, Kalasadan. At the age of 5, Kalasadan refused to admit such a young girl. But on seeing her beautiful performance, they gave her a place in the prestigious institution. Sudha practiced with much zeal and dedication. She continued her general education along with dance. By the age of 17, she had presented 75 widely appreciated stage programs. On May 2, 1981, the bus Sudha was traveling in met with a serious accident. Due to a misjudgment on the part of the doctor, Sudha's broken leg developed gangrene and had to be amputated, or say means to cut her leg. Sudha remained in a state of shock for some time. However, gradually her confidence started to return. She began walking with the help of a wooden leg and crutches. In the meanwhile, she continued her studies in Mumbai. She was unable to sleep for several nights. She gained strength from her pain and pledged to become even stronger. Despite facing severe pain, she continuously practiced walking. 6 months after the amputation, Sudha read about the new Jaipur leg, which means artificial leg. Her confidence and desire for dance was again revived. Sudha got her Jaipur leg. With this, a new round of struggle began. First, she began to practice walking with her artificial leg. On meeting with success at this first stage, she tried to dance as well. This was, however, not easy. Her leg would often bleed, and as the movement of the leg became faster, the pain became more severe. She used to bear the pain and did not allow her face to reflect her agony. Once she had mastered all the dance positions, she started to wait for an opportunity to perform on the stage once again. On January 28, 1984, she was to present a dance program for the South India Welfare Society of Mumbai. She was apprehensive. However, when Sudha reached the stage, she forgot that her leg was artificial and started dancing swiftly. At the end of the show, the hall resounded with the claps of the mesmerizing audience. Sudha thereafter won several awards in dance. The film Nache Mayuri, inspired by her, made her famous. She also went into an acting career. So, from this story, we can learn that Sudha Chandran's love for dance gave her the strength to overcome the many ups and downs that came her way. In fact, she gained strength from her pain and made her disability her greatest motivator. She became even more determined to achieve excellence as a dancer. Now let's see the story behind famous Brooklyn Bridge, a creation of vision and commitment. In 1883, an engineer named J.Robert was inspired by an idea to build a spectacular bridge connecting New York with Long Island. Bridge building experts throughout the world thought that this was an impossible feat and told Roebling to forget it as it had never been done before. Roebling knew that it could be done. He shared the dream with his son Washington, an upcoming engineer. Working together, the father and son developed concept of how the dream could be accomplished. With great inspiration and excitement about the wild challenge before them, they hired their crew to build the dream bridge. Few months into the project, there was an on-site accident. John Roebling died in it. Washington was injured and was left with brain damage and could not talk or move. Everyone thought the project would be scrapped since the Roeblings were the only ones who knew how the bridge could be built. But despite his handicap, Washington still had a burning desire to complete the bridge. He tried to inspire and pass on his enthusiasm to some of his friends, but they were too afraid to take up the task. As he lay on his bed in his hospital room, with the sunlight streaming through, an idea hit him. All he could do was move one finger, and he decided to make the best use of it. So, by moving this finger, he slowly developed a code of communication by tapping his finger with his wife, through which he communicated to his engineers. He also encouraged his wife to study higher mathematics, strength of different materials, etc. It seems foolish, but the project was underway again. For 13 years, Washington tapped out his instruction using his finger until the bridge was finally completed. Today, the spectacular Brooklyn Bridge stands in all its glory. So, from this, we can learn that the vision of Brooklyn Bridge kept Washington Roebling committed to his task despite personal tragedies. So, just think about what motivated him to keep struggling to finish the bridge and not to give up. What were the benefits of this, like to him, to the citizen of the New York, and to the future generations? Let's understand engage deeply with one more example. Mihir was a brilliant physics research student. He wanted to use path-breaking technologies to find solutions to some of the serious issues faced by the world. He think like, with my research I will make some real difference to the world. He joined a multinational oil company where physicists, geologists, and mathematicians together work on identifying oil drilling sites. And his boss said, "You will work with a team of other scientists on the energy problems." But after 2 years into the job, he found the excitement of newness and discovery is missing. So he started thinking like, this is not my idea of the work that I want to do. All I do is look at endless data. Then he joins another organization which manufactures cutting-edge optical instruments used in various medical, research, and educational institutes. But here, two things are no difference. Again, he started thinking like, all I have around me are lenses. I will need to look for a new job. And said in disgust, when will this search end? So, from this, we can learn that Mihir is unable to see the connection between his work and the contribution he can make through his work to the organization. He is looking for external motivation to find meaning in his work. Let's see a promise of safe road travel for middle class Indian families. Ratan Tata, the head of the Tata Group, was moved every time he saw whole families traveling on two wheelers, a common sight in India. You can see it in the image. So he was inspired to think how travel could be made faster for families from the growing Indian middle class without having to resort to expensive means. How did he did not want to simply make another stylish and small but unaffordable car. That is when he hit upon the idea of manufacturing a small car with a price tag of 1 lakh rupees and no more. Though his idea was widely criticized, he remained focused on his goal. Initially, in 2003, he thought of making a four-wheeler out of scooter parts, but it did not work out and the team had to struggle a lot. Mr. Tata spent a lot on his time on this project and monitored it closely until the nano design was conceived. Convinced. By 2011, Mr. Tata proved his critics wrong and the car was already popular on Indian roads. The car had numerous cost-cutting features and Mr. Tata was able to realize his dream of giving the Indian public an affordable yet modern car. But he does not stop there. He said, we have to commit to making the product better at all the time. So 5 years from now, it is not the same nano. So from this, we can learn that Ratan Tata's vision was not to just make a car in rupees 1 lakh, but to provide a safe means of personal travel to the Indian middle class family. So he have wider vision in his life which impact his choices and it shows that he is motivated to go into the details of the project and he think about creative ideas. So engaging deeply results in discovering meaning in the work. So at last, only I want to say that give up once for all. This nibbling at things, take up one idea, make that one idea your life, think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea and just leave every other idea alone. This is the way to success and this is the way great spiritual giants are produced. Others are only talking machine. If we really want to be blessed and make others blessed, we must go deeper. So here I end my session. Thank you all of you.